Hi, this is Rob from Waxadis Music and welcome to this tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to create multiple instrument racks in one channel. Now what I do here is I've been messing about with this quite a lot lately in my live performance, and I've been looking for ways to make the live performance as tight and compact as possible where I don't have to move across the screen as much, because obviously with Ableton you can have as many channels as you want, and therefore you can sometimes get a little bit overloaded and a little bit carried away and your workflow starts to suffer. So what I've been doing is I've been looking at a way to create several instruments on one channel, and it's something that's been around a while, but I thought I'd bring it to your attention in terms of the funky house genre and the disco genres and so forth, or the techno, whatever it is you want to do. It doesn't matter what genre you do, but I'm just going to use disco instruments and funky house sounds. So what I wanted to do is, obviously in Ableton, when you're using a MIDI controller like an APC or something like that, or Ableton Push, you've got a row of 8 of columns, haven't you? Where it controls each individual sound by the press of a button. Now, what I wanted to do is have multiple instruments on one channel, so that I didn't have to go far and wide using the MIDI controller to select that channel when I needed it instantly or very quickly. So what I do is you set up 2 MIDI channels, or just for example, for this tutorial, I'm going to set up 2 MIDI channels. Now, obviously, I've got 4 in my live setup. I've got one for bass lines, one for pads and strings, one for pianos, keys, chord roads, and stuff like that, and one for lead lines. And then I've got a drum machine one as well. But for this tutorial, I'm just going to set up 2 audio channels. I'm just going to get another beat in there and just put this in. Just put that there for this. Right, so I've got 2 audio channels just with different beat loops on for the purposes of this tutorial. Right, so for example, you want to have 4 bass sounds on one channel, right? And you want to operate them quickly in a live performance, okay? So you go to Instruments, and you go to Instruments Rack, and you drag a blank Instruments Rack onto your MIDI channel like this. And just drag it down there like that. So you've got a blank one. Go to your favorite plugin and just grab the OXE. I'm going to put that in there, and this is a great little synth. And I'm going to choose from the presets that one there. So it's a nice little round JX sort of bass, like that. Okay, right. So we've got that in there. I want to open up the section here, and there you can see there's the synth. Right, it's in that channel. Now we're going to click chain, okay? And then there you see a tiny little blue line, and you're going to open that up, right, to number 8, to the 8 mark, okay? Like so. And that now is set to play in there. If I move that away, it doesn't play, okay? So that's playing on top of that. So the only way you're going to see the effect of this in a minute is when I put another synth on. So I'm now going to grab a mouse synth. I'm going to pull that down. And in the mouse synth, I'm going to check another bass sound. Let's just get a basic ping. And I'm going to open up this little box again, like so. And I'm going to drag that from 8 to 16. Okay? Just like that, all right? And now, when I move this blue line, you're going to play the OXE. As soon as I move that, it plays the MAU, right? Okay? And I'm just going to turn down the delay on that. That's that. And now what I want to do is I want to get another bass line in there. So I am now going to select the Tyrell, and I'm going to put the Tyrell in here, and I'm going to choose one of my favorite bass lines of all time, which is the Boogie Bass 2. And I'm going to just turn that up a bit, and I'm going to go back in here, and again the blue line, open this up and go from 16 to 24. Okay? And then when we move that, right, we've got that. So we've got 3 bass lines. And then I'm going to drag in another Tyrell, and I'm going to select another favorite sound of mine, which is Silk Zap. That's the one. Okay, I'm just going to check this is okay. And then, again, same with the blue line, drag it open and go from 24 to 32. Okay. Okay, so you get the idea. Okay, I'm going to turn the tempo down a bit. Right. Now, so we've got these 4 here. So what we want to do is we want to turn on the MIDI map up here. And on the little blue line, you're going to right-click on the blue line. Okay. And you're going to select Map to Macro 1. Okay. And there it says Chain Selector. And then you're going to turn a dial on your keyboard, or if you've got dials on your Novation pad or your launch pad or whatever you use, you can select it to one of those, one of 8, of course, like that. Okay, and you select that to that, like that, and you turn that off, and now that's selected to that. So whenever you are playing a track, imagine this, right? Imagine you've got a track and it's playing this beat, and this is your track, and you are on the OX bassline. Yeah, and then your next track's coming in, right? You're playing your next track. You need a new bass line, so you select, you move your dial from here, and you want the mouse in, and you move over across like that. Or you want to go to the next one. Or you want to go to the next one. So that is basically how you would do that. And then the same goes for the next one. So you would go over to the next one, you would get a instruments rack, grab a MIDI instrument rack, blank one, back to your plugins. I'm going to put in the Tyrell, and I am going to select the funk lead. Okay, and there's the funk lead. I'm just going to turn up the cut off a little bit because it needs doing. Open it up, select key, chain, and then select chain, and then you've got your first one there. So imagine you're on here, you've got, let's go back to this first channel. I want to use the funk bass. I'm going to press play record. And there's that. So that's that. I'm just get a bass line in, and then we're going back to this channel. You're over here, you're playing live, and you want a lead line. So imagine this is your track. And then you drop that out, and then the next track's coming in. So you're back here. You think, right, I need another bass line. Let's go to the mount. Let's go to the OXB. And then you go. And then you start another track down here. Just realised my volume's not clipping too much there. Right. And then the same goes for that. So there you go. That's just a quick rough idea. And then we want a... I'm going to put another one in there, another Tyrell, and I'm going to choose the Vintage Worm. I'm going to click that, open up that, copy that over, put that into there, and then, obviously, when you MIDI map it, and then you move that over there, you finish playing that, your next bass line's playing, and then you go into here. And so on. And there you go. Then obviously you can put more and more synth sounds in there. And then what you would do to keep the workflow nice and steady is I would label this bass 1 control, because you're mapping these to the macro. So that's mapped to macro. Say you've got 8 dials on your controller, 1 to 8. You're going to map the bass sounds to number 1 on your dial. So you know that the first dial controls this bar here down the bottom, yeah, so you can move from sound to sound quite easily. And then the same for that, you'd map it to macro 2. And you move from sound to sound quite easily on. You think, well, it saves looking at the screen too much. You know that number 2 is going to change sounds on the instrument rack, which is the lead lines, because you've named it lead to control or whatever. You know, you name it however you need to. So I'm going to call it lead to control. And that just keeps the workflow. And then the third one would be Rhodes, pianos, organs, that sort of thing. And then the fourth one would be pads, strings. And then the fifth one would be, you know, synth sounds, arpeggios, whatever. So that's it. So that's basically a nice, easy way to, you know, you're on stage, you want to be able to maneuver from sound to sound very quickly without too much stress, too much worry, and without having too many channels on the screen, which ruins your CPU and also messes things up because you sometimes press the wrong button, and there's nothing worse than pressing the wrong button when you're in a live performance. So I hope that's helped you. It's a good way of experimenting as well, because what I've found is I've made 2 new tracks by doing this, by jamming like this and performing like this, and I've taken those 2 tracks and I'm going to take them off into arrangement view and create new tracks out of those, which I wouldn't have done had I sat down in arrangement mode. So it's worth doing it that way, even if you don't take it out live. It's worth just having a jam at home and a mess about. Good stuff can come from it. So that's all. Go ahead and check that out and see if it helps you with your live performance or your workflow in general. Any questions, just email me and I'll respond within 24 hours. Thank you, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Thanks again. Goodbye.